Gospel church, then you're expected to follow the straight and narrow path when it comes to life and music. Well, our next guest chose the long and winding road instead, becoming a brilliant and successful jazz trumpeter. It wasn't until many years had gone by and many contacts with the less fulfilling aspects of life that Phil Driscoll returned to fulfill the expectations of his parents. Here's how it all came about. He looks a little like Gallagher, sings a lot like Joe Cocker, and his trumpet rivals any jazz great you can think of. But Phil Driscoll is anxious for his audiences to hear his message as well as his music. The son of a devoted minister, Phil first learned about music in the church, where his mother played piano and organ. What are some of your earliest musical memories?
Well, my mom and dad, I guess, gave me a toy trumpet, and they used to do street meetings out on the street corners, you know. And my first memory of playing was playing there, and I was about 3, I think, 3, somewhere in there. And there was a drunk, my vivid memory was there was a drunk chasing me around these people, and I was playing my little plastic trumpet, and he was chasing me with $5. He wanted to give me money, but I didn't know it, and he was scaring me to death.
Throughout junior and senior high school, Phil's genius became apparent. By graduation, he had over 60 offers for full music scholarships. In college, he formed his own group, and by the early 1970s, his talent had opened doors to recording contracts, nightclub, and television appearances, and eventually a way of life far removed from his religious roots. In 1977, he had returned from touring with Joe Cocker when Phil made a fateful phone call.
I had been on the road with Cocker, and in one of the tours that we did, called a friend of mine in Houston, told him that everybody was tired and we were having a boring time to bring some stuff and we'd have a party. And he brought some drugs, cocaine, and what have you. And that conversation was wiretapped. And what happened was I was arrested. 19 federal agents surrounded my house, came in and arrested me, bulletproof vests and all. I was in the shower, and they arrested me on an indictment by a federal grand jury in Houston, Texas.
The arrest wasn't totally unexpected. Just 13 days earlier, a prophecy came to Phil in church, warning him of the most traumatic time of his life.
I stood in front of a judge in Houston, Texas, and told him what you read in that bio. Told him that yes, I'd used cocaine, yes, I'd done drugs, but that Jesus had got a hold of my life and changed me. And after telling him that I'd used it, he found me not guilty. And God just delivered me from that.
It sounds like to me that your life has gone full circle, from the church to the devil, back to the church.
Yeah, it has. I don't believe, I guess I believe now even in predestination, in terms of what my life has gone through, because although I don't think God really wanted me to get in the circles that I got, I learned so much, and there's so much that I can tell kids. Today,
Phil's message and music are being received enthusiastically, and his future never looks brighter. He says the only drawback is the time he must spend away from his family.
My family is my hobby. My family is my entire life when I come home. It's hard to drag me away from them.
Dad, this, a donut!
That's why Phil learned to fly his own plane. Now his family can travel with him whenever possible. And if that sounds like a happy ending, it's really a happy beginning.
My goals are to take the craft of music that God has given me and to change the opinion of the world about his power through music. I believe that most people have a very stereotyped opinion and view of God, look at him as being a square, and at Jesus as maybe a figment of someone's imagination. And I want to take the music that I've been gifted with, which is rock and roll and rhythm and blues and that whole thing, and communicate it to people who love that kind of music. Lots of people could not care less about what we call gospel music or straight music. They just like that particular music. But God can write that kind of sound. God's funky too, you know.